Hi guys, this is Lucas Rinks here. Today I'm going to be looking at and reacting to a bunch of my older pieces. So if you don't know, which you wouldn't since I haven't told anybody on this channel or I haven't talked about it, I've been composing for about 3 years now, long before I started this channel. So like 3 years ago, that's when I was composing quite a bit. I haven't composed more than I'm composing now. I never did. I only composed 3 years ago, like a total of 7 pieces. Well, kind of 7, basically 6. Kind of 7, basically 6. Because one of them is an excerpt, you can kind of say, of a piece. My second piece. My first piece is sort of an excerpt of my second piece because you'll see. There's a lot of funny stuff to look at. I don't think this video will be very long, only 7. But basically what happened is after like 3 years ago when I composed like 7 pieces, and those pieces took me a long time because I was much less skilled at the piano than I am now, and I was also much worse at writing. So writing stuff like that would take a long time, hours and hours. A long time. Now that sort of stuff does take me hours and hours to write, but it's also a lot more thought out music. It's a lot better, definitely, I would say. And mostly it takes hours and hours. A lot of times I'll be taking a lot of breaks in between, but also like just writing the music takes a long time. But it's mostly because I'm spending a lot of time trying to make it sound good. But back then I did try to make it sound good and spent a lot of time on that. But I was nowhere near as skilled as I am now to write better music and be able to write music faster and with more ease. Anyway, so we'll be looking at that. I'll be showing a little bit of my first manuscripts so that I can show the kind of funny mistakes I made along the way. And let's get into it. Basically 6 full pieces. One of them is the first piece I ever wrote. So this one, I actually am surprised I still have this manuscript. It's super short. You can probably barely see it. It's so wrinkled, so old. But this is 2 lines. Yeah, 2 lines. Yeah, it's very funny. I called it the Rising Sapphire, this little theme I wrote. My mom really liked it at the time because she thought I was being really smart and stuff. I can't even put it on my music stand. And since I don't have this particularly memorized, I can't just play it. I'll have to put it somewhere. Anyway, it's called the Rising Sapphire. And the way I got this piece of paper to write it on, I did not have any manuscript paper like I did for all my other compositions and I do now. So what I did is I went on my mom's phone and I took a screenshot of a piece of manuscript paper and then cropped it out so it would only be this paper and then had her print it. That's how I got it. Anyway, looking just straight into this music, haven't looked at it or tried to play it in forever. It is very funny. So first off, I wrote in 6/4, which isn't that interesting, but it's interesting for the first piece. And I wrote it as a G minor piece. The whole piece is in G minor. Now the key signature is G major, because I don't think I knew what the key signature for G minor was back then. So this was probably more than 3 years ago, actually. I probably was composing like 4 or 5, because I'm sure of 3 years ago I knew. But I must not have known the G minor key signature, because there's F sharps in all of this. And it's, anyway, it's Andante, and this is not like it had in the first composition where I used this excerpt in a real piece. This is interesting because it starts off in fortissimo, which I don't think suits the piece at all. And then it does a little decrescendo to let's so piano, and then a crescendo up to forte. Yeah, I don't think I did very well at the dynamics, but let's just get into it. There's not much more I have to say besides this is really cool to still have this music after so long. Very short piece I wrote. Okay. Wait a minute. Okay, that must be a rest because this is so scribbled out. F sharps. Well, I believe these are F sharps, but I believe I meant to write them as naturals, as I remember. That's at least how I wrote it in my whole manuscript, but I guess I wrote it here. And then it goes this. I guess a caden. Wait. This is interesting. I don't know. So I believe this is a cadenza I wrote. Wait, no, it isn't. But it's really strange because I wrote it as a cadenza in here. But anyway. With the timing, it's supposed to be, sorry. And then it's a fade. Terrible job on my first. I mean, it's not an especially interesting theme. I have no idea why I called it the Rising Sapphire. And I didn't spell sapphire, right? Anyway, it's interesting to look at pieces like this. Well, I mean, for a first composition, I don't think I did too terribly. I mean, I think the theme's pretty okay. And now for my first real composition with my real manuscript book and my really thought out, this is the Lustig Trauvig Capriccio Sonatina. So happy, sad, joke, happy, sad, funny sonatina, I guess. It is interesting. I think I did a decent job for my first real composition. It's got, I think, a decent first movement, and then it goes into a little Liebestrom. I called it a Liebestrom. I mean, I don't think it does a great job being a Liebestrom. And I have markings here saying movement 1, viola optional, and then movement 2, no viola. And I don't know why I would have thought to put viola in it. I don't know why I have that marking there. I never wrote any viola music for this, so I'm very confused. And then the third movement, it is just basically a revised version of the Rising Sapphire theme. So, I mean, there's not much more I have to say here besides it's interesting how in this in the Lustig Trauvig Capriccio part of this sonatina is basically all for the first movement. I mean, you could apply it to the second, but that's basically just sad sounding. It's really nothing joyful, so I think the Lustig Traveling Caprices was mainly for the first movement, so I don't know how good of a job I did naming it. But also again, if you look at the music itself, sorry, my doggies are barking. I wrote 3/4, 3/4, 3/4, 3/4, 3/4, 6/4, 6/4. I wrote all the music. I wrote the time signatures. I wrote the time signatures for each of them separately for some reason. I don't know why I wrote it that way. Let's just jump straight into it. Lustig Traveling Capriccio Sonatina. Second movement. Now we go into the final movement. Lustig Traveling Capriccio Sonatina. Some notes on it are, you can see how the cadenza was actually supposed to sound. That's, I think, how I played it when I originally wrote the Rising Sapphire. But you can also see, like, you can see the, so if you look at the music I'm showing a lot of, you can see, you can see eighth notes with, eighth notes that look like, half notes, or those right here, and up here. So, those, I think I got that from, I was doing a ton of practice on a piece that was, I mean, kind of a bit difficult for me at the time. I was doing the first movement of the Pathetique Sonata. So that was, I was doing a lot of that, and it had, like, it showed whole eighth notes and like that, and it was meant to be played like going back and forth between the notes. Somehow I forget what that's called, even though I knew it a second ago, but I'm sure you would know what I'm talking about. But anyway, those are kind of, that's interesting to me. But also the Liebesstraum movement, the second one, I think I felt really cool about myself for making that, and I was super emotional when I would play it for my teacher. The left hand. something super crazy good. I don't know why, but I guess I just thought with that beginner sort of mindset, I thought I did an insanely new sort of chord progression or something that was super cool. I think it's another decent for a first real composition. I mean, that first composition. Also, I did fix the key signature. I did fix the key signature in this one, so it is in G minor and not G major. All right. Now, the third piece to look at is a dance for strings. Now, I can't play it on the violin, viola, and cello that I wrote it for, but I can play the main theme, so you get the idea. This is my first dance for strings. I've already written a second one that I just finished like a few weeks ago writing, and I really like that one, but this one is a little interesting. The second dance for strings and the third, which I'm working on writing now, are just for viola and violin. The first one was for all three, viola, violin, and cello, but this is the main theme. It's in the violin, and then there's just accompaniment in the other instruments, which we don't really need to get into. It repeats. Sorry. Now, I think I did. Yeah, I don't think it's that interesting now, but I really like that theme back then. I guess the theme I'm working on, the theme that I just finished, the thing that I just finished writing, the second dance for strings, I think that's a lot more interesting, but it also has a similar start, I think. Sorry, it's, what is it? Okay, I can't recall to mind unless I had the music right in front of me, because I've been writing a lot and reading a lot of other music, and I haven't really done a lot of work on playing that with other people. I did a little, but not much, so I don't have it right in my mind at the moment. Anyway, let's move on. That's not so interesting, but here's a piece that might be one of my best early pieces. Probably the best, if not for the first movement of Lustig Trave Capriccio. I really like this waltz. It's my first waltz. It's waltz in C major. There's not a ton of critique I have on myself, because at this point I was getting better at composing, and I sort of understood how to write. It is a very short waltz, but I mean, I think it sounds cool. Anyway, here, let's go. Critiques on myself there, like I said, but let's just get into the next piece. Now, this is my first adieu. You may have seen in my shorts I released my adieu for the summertime, adieu number 2. That I think I like that piece, adieu for the summertime. I like that one. This one, I mean, it doesn't sound enough originality. Just like I now hate Citadel. Citadel is one of my least favored pieces of all time, even though at first it was my favorite. You can see that one in shorts. Also, if you look at that, I mean, I just think it's so bland. It doesn't offer anything new. At the same time, looking back at this adieu, I think I wrote it sort of as a funeral march, an adieu to a person. No one in particular, just a sort of funeral march to do, like a goodbye to someone. So this starts out in tutu at Vivace Ligerio. It's not very interesting though. I think I kind of took from the Rising Sapphire a little bit in the beginning. It starts out in G minor, and then it ends off kind of strangely. Like, it's very scattered in the end, which you will see. It's like almost a 3-page adieu, so I don't know, it's interesting though. The end is really, I don't think fits with it at all, so I really don't think this was one of my better pieces, but it's an old piece I wrote, so let's just try it. Adieu. Is lento. And here's the strange coda in D minor for some reason. It's kind of strange. I think it's a really weird piece. I mean, it doesn't sound weird to the ears, I guess, but like in the key signature, going from G minor to C major to D minor is really strange. I think I tried to make a sort of waltz section at the end, similar to my first waltz in C major, but I think I thought lento was slower than largo at the time I wrote this. So I wrote lento after largo, thinking that it would get super slow from already, even though largo is like the slowest key signature, basically. I think I thought it was slow. Anyway, that is really interesting to look at. We don't have much to look at more. Couple more pieces. Yeah, and then we're done basically. I'll look at first this sonnet. This is the last one of my old pieces. I'll look at first the sonatina. It's called First Dinosaurs. Or it's called it's a violin and viola sonatina. So I won't look at much of it. It's about the dinosaurs. The first movement is First Dinosaurs. Second movement is T-Rex's Roll. Third movement is the asteroid, and there's 2 sections to this: thriving dinos and the asteroid hits, and then there's a coda, hitting the dinos. So like the asteroid hits and hitting the dinos are separate, I guess, but so it's kind of hard to read for viola, but this is very simple, so it's kind of hard to play for viola on piano, but anyway, let's just play it real quick. Rex's rule. Skip that. And then it goes, there's a coda to the T-Rex's rule, I guess. Anyway, we go to the asteroid, Riding Dinos. It's in A major, I guess? Or no, it's in D major. I just wrote an extra sharp and then erased it. Okay, so that is A. Oh, it's hard to read from here. No, that is not. Section and then it just repeats, but I'm going to do that. So then we get the asteroid hits of the second part of the asteroid. I'm just going to play the violin part because it's tricky to read the viola because it's quicker. It's double stops. And then there's a coda. No. That is a really interesting. Okay, I'm gonna let my dog out really quick. Okay, have the dog out. Now I can finish this up. Anyway, I don't know much to say on that. I don't think it was that interesting, but at the time, I guess I thought it was really good. Now, finally, to finish off these old pieces, well, there's, to finish off the oldest pieces, I'm gonna play, no, this is the end of it. Sorry, a minuet in D minor I wrote. This was right before the Dinosaur Sonatina, but I played that first because it's less interesting. And so first it's a minuet, then it's like a march in 3/4, but it's still a minuet, I guess. I don't know, but I thought it was really good at the time, I guess, or maybe not. I think actually thinking. No, this piece was one I'd actually, I despise Citadel right now because I find it so unoriginal and uninteresting to listen to. I think at the time, I really hated this piece and thought I did not like this, and I did not like the march. It goes from D minor to A major, but anyway, here is the minuet in D minor. And then the march part. this compared to my other pieces of the time. I think it's pretty interesting, and I think at the time, I hated disharmony of any form, and the march part where it went like this, I think the main reason I disliked this was this chord. I thought it was so disharmonious, but now looking back, I think it's kind of interesting that I did that. It's not really something characteristic of me at the time. Now I'm okay with disharmony. Like you got pieces like the waterfall dance, where I recently wrote, but I didn't put it on the channel. I don't know if I'll put it on the channel for a while because I don't think it's that interesting until I'm done with Azalite. But I have things like this now and like the waterfall dance. Like a really weird split up A minor chord with an inverted D major chord on the right. It's really strange. Yeah, but I would never do anything like that back then. So this was really disliked by me on a lot of accounts just because of this. I actually like the sound of it. Thinking back now, anyway, that's basically all the pieces. We can look at one more, I guess, because I did try writing something else, and then I gave up on it because it was taking so long, and I got kind of bored. I'm sure eventually in the future, once I find time and I'm less invested in working on like Azalite or the piano concerto, I'm kind of working on. I haven't started writing it, but I'm working on devising an idea sort of for it. Anyway, if I wasn't so focused on things like Azalite and the piano concerto, I would probably try to work on this. Now, this was originally meant to be a viola concerto with a symphony behind it, but basically I changed it to a symphony. I did not write very much. I only wrote 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, wait, no, I only wrote 6 full lines for a symphony, and I wrote more. Here we are with my dog and I only wrote 6 full lines for a symphony, and I wrote 6 measures, not 6 lines, 6 measures for a symphony, and then I wrote something to start off for the viola on the next couple pages, but I never wrote anything beyond that. So with the symphony, there's not much I can play because it's got a bunch of instruments, 10. I did not add a whole symphony, I just had viola, violins, cello, bass, piccolo, 2 piccolos, piccolo 1 and piccolo 2, so 2 groups of piccolos, an oboe, a snare drum, bass drum, and a xylophone. Those were all the instruments I had included in the symphony I was working on writing. I wrote specific numbers for how many of those specific instruments are supposed to be in. I don't know what I wrote for viola because it looks kind of messy, but it might be 9. I wrote 6 violins, 6 cellos, 4 basses, 1 piccolo, 1 piccolo 1, 1 piccolo 2, 2 oboes, 2 snare drums, 2 bass drums, and 1 xylophone. Anyway, not much I can play out of this, but I can sort of show you the music and tell you the main theme, which is, I think, in the viola, so it goes something like, this is the violins part. It's in G minor. That is really straight. Oh no, I have a natural. That's interesting. And then for the viola, cello. That's strange. And then for the bass. And then for the oboe 1. Piccolo. Anyway, we could go on and on and on. Anyway, but basically just looking at the music is interesting because this is how I wrote. And this took so long because I didn't know originally how to write for a lot of these instruments. I barely knew how to write for bass. Barely, because I didn't know its range at this time. I did not know how to write for piccolo. I didn't know how to write for oboe. I didn't know how to write for snare drum, bass drum, or xylophone. I didn't know most of these instruments, so I had to look up and learn for hours and hours of time how to write for them, and write for hours of time just these 2 pages of music. Only, again, 6 measures. And then I gave up after writing a little bit of viola theme because it was too annoying for me to keep writing because my hands kept getting tired. I don't know. I want to eventually come back to this and finish it. That's a goal of mine. Anyway, I hope you liked this video. It's been a long 40-minute video. I'm sure no one got to the end. But if you did, just leave a comment, maybe if you want to, giving I don't know, ideas you had about the pieces or anything. I don't know, if you got this far, which I'm sure no one did, just leave a comment. Okay, thank you for watching, and I doubt anyone watched, but bye.